Guruve Gauri Chanjaya Radhikaya Tadali Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. My Dandavat Pranam devotees. So today I want to make a small presentation, as is mentioned in the thumbnail, making the case that is been debated over the course of some years and is widely accepted, I believe, on one side, but may be questioned by a smaller contingent on another side. And that is that Sri Sukadeva Goswami, who is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, is the Grida Shuk, Lila Shuk of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. So first, let me set the table of how the discussion has come about. Many self-realized Rasik Bahu Vaishnavas have declared a very bold statement that Sukadeva Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, is in fact the Lila Shuk, means a play parrot of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. And that upon the ending of their pastimes here in Boma Lila, they requested that that Suk, that parrot, should stay behind and recite their glories in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam in this world. So, in regards to the appearance of Sukadeva Goswami as the seminal son of Vyas, there are many narrations in Skanda Purana, Brahma Vaivat Purana, Shanti Parva of Mahabharat, also Narada Puran. So this is mutually accepted by all parties. Also, many of the stories of the seminal appearance of Sukadeva Goswami are mutually accepted. So it is only the question of the more esoteric idea of Sukadeva Goswami's appearance as the parrot of Radha and Krishna is under discussion. So I won't go back and repeat all the Puranic stories. Again, I've given references for where they are. Just in brief, there's the story of Vyasadeva preparing for Yajna. And in preparing for Yajna, he saw one Apsara named Gritachi. And having seen her beauty and charm, he involuntarily had a seminal emission. And in the Arani wood, which was prepared for that Yajna, once the fire was produced, Sukadeva Goswami manifested from there. Another story is that Vyasadeva ji married the daughter of Jabali Rishi. Her name was Vitika, and he prayed to Mahadev, Shiv, that he could have a son who would be self-realized. On the blessings of Mahadev, Vyas, after impregnating Vitika, then some 12 years later, a self-realized son appeared who was Sukadeva Goswami, but of course he immediately left home. And when Vyasadeva went to speak to Mahadev that you've promised me a self-realized son, but that immediately upon appearing in this world he left without any connection to family or anything else. So how will I have the benefit of the benediction that you gave? So that Sukadeva Goswami returns home, because another part of the narrative is that Vyasadeva wanted to explain the Srimad Bhagavatam to his own son. He had his epiphany after the darshan of Sri Narad Muni Ji, and after hearing 10 shloks from Narad Muni, he did meditation, Bhakti Yogena Manasi, Samyak Pratihile Amale, Apashat Purusham Puranam, Mayayam Upasritam. And in his meditation, by the blessing and influence of his conversation with Narad Muni, Apashat Purusham Puranam, he saw everything completely. I once inquired from my own Guru Padma, what is the meaning here? Because in many other Puranas, the pastimes of Radha and Krishna mentioned, Padma Puran, Brahma Vaivat Puran, others. So my Guru Padma told, but never had it been spoken in the context of the superiority of Radhika's praying. And therefore, what Vyasadeva saw in his dhyan, in his meditation, Maya Yamupasritam, how Krishna takes shelter of Yog Maya to fulfill his desire for the Ras Lila. And in that Ras Lila is a place in which the glory of Srimati Radhika's Maharanakya Mahabhav can be experienced by Krishna. Not him experiencing Maharanakya Mahabhav, but his tasting that kind of prem coming from the Asraya Jatya, means the repository of that love, Srimati Radharani. So Vyasadeva wanted to explain Bhagavatam like this to his own son. So Sukadeva Goswami, he returns. Of course, the various narratives are synthesized in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam narrative, all of the other Puranic stories have been synthesized in a narration in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Baladev Vijabhushan Ji explains, though, that all of these different narratives happen in different kalpas or different days of Brahma. So in this particular day of Brahma that comes in the 28th Dibya Yug, once in a day of Brahma, when Krishna appears and then Mahaprabhu follows, that appearance of Sukadeva Goswami I'll discuss in a minute. But here he synthesized the other descriptions in other Puranas. So Vyasadeva does explain Srimad Bhagavatam after enticing Sukadeva Goswami to come back from the forest by reciting, some say 4 verses, some say 3 verses. 2 verses are universally accepted. Barahapitam natuvarvapu kada kanyo kanikaram avenugi and a whole bakiyam stana kalakuta jigamhamsapi payaya apiyashvadi. So these 2 verses certainly are the inspiration for Sukadeva Goswami returning to Vyas and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, but then again leaving home to wander the world. But here, in one Puranic narrative, it's described that in order to satisfy Vyasadeva, a Chaya Suk, means a shadow expansion of Sukadeva Goswami, stays with Vyasadeva, becomes married, has children, everything. So you can see there's a complete complex narrative of many forms of Sukadeva Goswami. So how is it concluded that the Sukadeva Goswami who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam is actually the Krida Shuk or Lila Shuk of Radha and Krishna? One other narrative given, and from very reliable source I've heard, this is described in Narada Puran, right? Now it could also be explained in any Bhagavat Mahatma in Padma Puran as well, right? The other descriptions certainly are there in Skanda Puran, Brahma Vaivat Puran, etc. But this particular narrative explains that while Sri Mahadev once spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Parvati at her request, Mahadev, becoming very absorbed, closed his eyes and began narrating Srimad Bhagavatam. Parvati Mata, she, hearing the Bhagavatam at certain sections, her interest would wane and she began to sleep. While Mahadev was reciting, and in the parts where she was awake, she would reciprocate, because Mahadev had his eyes closed in absorption, she would reciprocate by saying, go on. And in this way, Mahadev felt the encouragement to go on describing and describing. So when Parvati fell asleep, one parrot who had arrived there before the recitation of Bhagavatam by Mahadev, who was seated in a tree, camouflaged, he was also hearing. And in hearing that Srimad Bhagavatam, when Parvati would fall asleep, he would, in the voice of Parvati, continue, go on, And in this way, Mahadev, staying very encouraged, recited the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. Upon awakening, he found that Parvati had not digested everything, and she honestly told, "Oh Prabhu, certainly at some parts of your narration, I began to sleep, so I did not hear everything." So then Mahadevji thought, well, if you did not hear, who was giving the continual encouragement and response? Go on. So Mahadev began to look around in Kailas, near his ashram, and he spotted that parrot. So many narrations are given here that he took one piece of grass, turned it into like Brahmastra to strike that parrot. Most narratives say he took his Trisul and began to chase that parrot. That parrot fled and went to Bhadakrikashram. There in Bhadakrikashram, while the wife of Vyasadeva, some say she was listening to Srimad Bhagavatam and doing one very rasik part of Srimad Bhagavatam in chamatkar, means in amazement, she opened her mouth to go, whoa! And at that time, that parrot flew directly into the mouth of Bitika. Some say also Bitika, once she was yawning during that period, and that Suk flew into the mouth and therefore into the womb of Bitika. When Mahadev arrived there, he was extremely angry, and Vyas, because it is the nature that if anyone will come to take shelter of you in any way, form, or fashion to your home, then you're obliged to offer them protection. So Vyas approached Mahadev and told, listen, this Suk has entered my ashram. Knowing your glories and your power, I know you can do anything. But I want to ask one question. You yourself have just given Amara Katar. Amara Katar means that Katar by which hearing one becomes deathless, immortal. If you're saying that this parrot heard that Amara Katar, how is it possible for you to chastise him by killing? So Lord Shiva immediately accepted this logic, and he gave blessing to Vyas, and he left that place. So our acharyas have described why would Mahadev have become angry in the first place that the parrot heard Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is of such a nature that whoever hears Bhagavatam, even if you recite Srimad Bhagavatam and trees and stones are present, then they also benefit, because there's some Atma there. They also benefit from hearing. So why did Mahadev become angry? Another side is that one should hear Bhagavatam after having become surrendered to Sri Guru. Because who's speaking Bhagavatam is also Shravan Guru. If not directly Diksha, Shiksha Guru, etc., they are Shravan Guru. Bhagavat Shravan Guru. And there's an etiquette to be observed when dealing with Guru. So one, Shuk being in a tree, posted himself in a higher position than his Shravan Guru, Sri Mahadev. Secondly, rather than coming and doing pranipat, means surrendering, he positioned himself in a hidden way. So by doing that, it indicated thievery. That one will come and hear Srimad Bhagavatam and then steal the jewels of Srimad Bhagavatam for any nefarious purpose. So Mahadev in this Leelas demonstrating that such persons are really not hearers of Srimad Bhagavatam, but rather they are thieves of the jewels of Bhagavatam, and their further recitations of Bhagavatam will be unfruitful to the hearer. You understand? So to prove these points, to give this upakyan teaching, Mahadev performed this Leela. But it's also explained by many Rasikacharyas, and for this I'm going to give some praman that Suk, who was the parrot who heard that Srimad Bhagavatam, was actually the Lila Suk of Radha and Krishna. And that Lila Suk, having felt deep separation from Srimati Radhika and Krishna, came to hear Srimad Bhagavatam in order to be consoled from that separation. Understand? So that parrot was no ordinary parrot. That parrot was the Lila Suk of Srimati Radharani. And that Lila Suk was who's hearing. And this whole pastime is actually a Lila in order to manifest Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should also understand Srimad Bhagavatam is not a book. Srimad Bhagavatam, Tulya Bhagavata Krishna Vibhu Savasrai, Prati Shloke Prati Akshare Nanatarkai. It is the unlimited depth of all of the moods of Radha and Krishna. It is Tulya Bhagavata Krishna, directly Krishna himself. And in Padma Puran it actually describes it is not just Krishna in a figurative or poetic way, but actually the first two cantos are the lotus feet. The next two cantos are like the thighs of the Lord. His navel is like the fifth canto, and on it describes his beautiful face. Face is the Dasamaskanda, or 10th canto of Bhagavatam. So in this way, Krishna's direct form is manifest to Srimad Bhagavatam as well as the form of Srimati Radharani and all of Vrindavan Dham and associates, etc. So no ordinary person can speak Srimad Bhagavatam. No ordinary sage, no person who was simply born even to a great sage like Vyasadeva. Even though Vyasadeva is more than a sage, he is the Shaktavesha of Sri Bhagavan. He is Vedanta Krit. In Bhagavad Gita it's mentioned there. What is this verse? I'm thinking. Give me 1 second. Vedanta Krit eva chaham. That by all of the Vedas I am to be known. So there's three things that are mentioned here. The object of the knowledge of the Vedas, right? This is called Vishaya Jatya, it means Krishna. I am also the knower of all the Vedas. Here it indicates Asraya Jatya. Those who know Krishna and who knows Krishna best, Asraya Jatya Roop is Srimati Radharani and all devotees descending from that. They know Krishna. But then a third category is mentioned. Vedanta Krit eva chaham. Vedanta Krit means who compiled the Vedas. So that is a third category. And that third category, it is not mentioned in which category they have understood Srimad Bhagavatam. Have they understood from the perspective of being the Shaktyavesh of Sri Krishna? Or have they understood being under the Anugatya of the Ashraya Jatya? You understand? So a third category is mentioned. So Vyasadeva, though he's a very great sage, it is only later on that the clarity around whether Vyasadeva understood Bhagavatam or not is revealed. Because we have a very famous verse, it is quoted in Antya-lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? Aham vedmi, Sukho vedmi, Vyasa vettina vettiva. He's saying, I know the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sukadeva Goswami knows the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Whether Vyas knows or not, I cannot say. So this is a very interesting thing, and it's part of what is Praman for this point, that the Lila Sukha Radhika is Sukadeva Goswami. How could it be that Mahadev could make the declaration, I know the meaning? Sukadeva Goswami knows the meaning. Whether Vyas knows or not, I cannot say. Vyasadeva is the compiler. So based on what I just spoke, Mahadev Ji is saying, I cannot ascertain from which angle of vision he's writing. Because prior to Narada Samvad with Vyasadeva, he was acting under the auspices of being the empowered incarnation of Bhagavan to compile the Vedic scriptures, to divide the one Veda into four, to write all the Purans, and then also to write Mahabharata, Itihas. Understand? So what his angle of vision was, what his realization was, right? He could not say. Even when Narada came to Bhattacharya Ashram, he observed a sort of void in Vyasadeva. And when he inquired about that, Vyasadeva revealed his mind to Narada Muni. And Narada Muni said, oh, the reason is because you've encouraged in all of your writings further involvement in material life, sense gratification in the name of Dharma. You have the empowerment of Bhagavan, therefore you're liberated soul. But you should concentrate on the sweet pastimes of Bhagavan. And from that, you should write. And this was the verse I quoted earlier, Bhakti Yogena Manasi, Samyak Pratile Amale, etc. Understand? So after that absorption, Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. So Mahadev Ji is saying, prior to that, we cannot tell whether he knows or not. But here comes the interesting point. If Mahadev could make this statement, how could it be that Sukadeva Goswami, who's speaking Bhagavatam, was only dependent on having heard it from Vyas? Because Mahadev was saying, Suk already knows. I can attest to this. Whether Vyas knows or not, I cannot say. But how can you say the guru of the speaker may or may not know, but the speaker affirmatively knows? How would that be possible? More evidence. And we're going to get to a discussion on what is Praman before I get to a Mool Praman. What is the evidence that Mahadev can lean into that I know definitively what is Bhagavatam? Suka knows definitively what is Bhagavatam. Because the conclusion of Bhagavatam is that one realizes Radha and Krishna's Lila. So Sukadeva Goswami has that realization intrinsically because he is the Lila Sukh of Radha and Krishna. Mahadev has that intrinsic realization because in the original form of Mahadev is Sadashiv. That Sadashiv performs the Lila to become Gopishwa Mahadev. So from the perspective of Gopishwa Mahadev, or the Lila Sukh of Radha and Krishna, he definitively knows the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. You understand? So this is also Praman that Sukadeva Goswami speaking is the Lila Sukh of Radha and Krishna. Understand? Another thing, there are 10 different types of Praman. Jiva Goswami has accepted that 3 types are prominent. Shabda means what is written in Shastra. Anuman, inference, because sometimes something may not directly be spoken in Shastra, but by inference, it supports the idea that it is in Shastra. You understand? I'm going to give a demonstration of that upcoming. Third is Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means direct experience. Then there's other things like Upaman, Arthapati, Sambhav, Abhav, Arsha, which is very important. It means the sayings of the rishis. So Jiva Goswami Pad has mentioned that the 7 other pramans, they are somehow present in the first 3. Shabda, Anuman, and Pratyaksha. So when we look at these 3 prominent kinds of praman, do they give any support to the idea that the Lila Sukh of Radha and Krishna is Sukadeva Goswami? So first and foremost, the mool praman for everything is Srimad Bhagavatam. In the line of Mahaprabhu, this is prominent. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad is mentioning Aradjo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tad Dhamma Vrindavanam Ramyas Kaschit Upasana Vrajavadu Varagena Yakalpita. Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Pramanam. That the Amal Praman, the spotless evidence for everything, is Srimad Bhagavatam. And we also accept that all knowledge, therefore not like Srimad Bhagavatam is separate from Ved, separate from Itihas, because it's mentioned. Artam Brahmasutranam, Bhat Artha Avinenoya, Gayatri Bhashya Ruposo, Vedata Paribrahmita. All explanations of all Sastra is present in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is the Mool Praman, especially in our line coming from Mahaprabhu, we accept this is Mool Praman and spotless Praman. So the first question will be, therefore Mukunda, is there any Praman in Srimad Bhagavatam for Sukadeva Goswami being the Lila Suk of Radha and Krishna? So we should see that in Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned Sri Suka Uvacha. Sri Suka Uvacha. What is this Praman then, Mukunda? Sri, many of our acharyas have translated. Sri means Sriya Suka Uvacha. Sriya Suka Uvacha. That the Suk of Sri, meaning Radhika, Uvacha is speaking. So now the Purvapaksh or the opposing argument can come. But this word Shri has many meanings. Shri means beauty. Shri means a kind of opulence. Shri means Lakshmi Devi. But all of those meanings, when they are culminated together, find their prasana in Srimati Radhika. Therefore, the cumulative or ultimate meaning of the word Shri is Radha. Because there's no quality of Shri which can be separated from Radha. You understand? The sum total of all Lakshmis is Radharani. The sum total of all beauty is Radharani. The sum total of all opulence is Radharani. Therefore, there's no denying that the word Shri certainly can mean Radha. And we don't have any compelling reason written in any commentary of acharyas that say this word does not mean Radhika, you should not take it like that. So they will give the argument, well, because it can be used as an honorific title for others, and it is so in Bhagavatam, then it does not mean necessarily that it's Radha. But if you look carefully, when it describes the beginning of the speaking of Suta Goswami to the sages at Namasaranya, it does not say Sri Sutuvacha, though it would be equally applicable, because it's not only directly Sri's Suk, but those who are connected to Radhika can also be addressed with the title Sri, Sri Guru, because he's connected to Radha. You understand? So anyone connected to Radha in a significant way may be honored with the title Sri. So, but it doesn't say it when it comes to saying Sutta Uvacha. It simply says Sutta Uvacha. And in many other cases, anyone speaking will simply, this person Uvacha. Now certainly there are some places where Shri is applied, and we have to look at the context of that. Is it someone being honored by a junior, and therefore being given the honorific title? Because, again, other things are included in that meaning. You understand? But we have no compelling reasons given by acharyas, but more, we have the reasoning given by realized acharyas. And this brings me to another kind of praman, pratyaksha. So pratyaksha means direct perception. Direct perception in conditioned souls and realized souls are not the same. Because conditioned souls are infested with 4 kinds of defects, then their direct perception is subject to those 4 defects. And therefore, their pratyaksha doesn't hold weight unless it is completely matched with shabda, right? It doesn't hold evidentiary weight in the same way as the realizations or pratyaksha of a realized Siddha Mahapurush. Siddha Mahapurush is absent of these 4 kinds of defects. Their vision is exclusively permeated by love. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena. Their pratyaksh is based in Prem Anjan, of their vision. So it is not infused with any kind of defect. Therefore, among the 10 types of Praman, Asha, the sayings of realized rishis, is given weight. So we have many statements of Siddha Mahapurushas who declare that Sukadeva Goswami is the Lila Suk of Radhika, my Guru Padapadma being one of them. You understand? So now, 2 types of Praman have been given. Also, the third Praman of inference is given in the narrative of the parrot who heard the Srimad Bhagavatam from Mahadev and flew into the mouth of Bitika and was born as Sukadeva Goswami. Another thing that is brought up is how could it be that the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam is Brahmavadi? Because it's mentioned, and some of the Puravapak, some of the opposing arguments to this, is that Sukadeva Goswami was Brahmavadi. And it was only after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning with those 4, 3, or 2 verses I mentioned, that his Brahmavad was broken. So here we have to make a deep inquiry. Is there anywhere written in all Shastra that Sukadeva Goswami spoke Brahmavad philosophy? Anywhere that he spoke Brahmavad philosophy? Then why our acharyas have spoken that he was in Brahmavad? So listen carefully. There's actually a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which describes the Nirvikalp Samadhi of Sukadeva Goswami. What is Nirvikalp Samadhi? According to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Nirvikalp Samadhi is that Samadhi in which all chitta vrittis, means functions of the chitta, have been insulated inside and have no external stimuli. You understand? There's Salvikalp Samadhi and Nirvikalp Samadhi. So Nirvikalp Samadhi means when the chitta vrittis do not accommodate any sensory perception from the outside. And therefore one's internal meditation, absorption, etc. has no resonance of external influence. Whereas in Salvikalp Samadhi, there's possibility that the sensory perceptions are not completely shut off, but one still in their concentration meditation may go on. But their sensory experience of the environment is not gone. So, because this was present in Sri Sukadeva Goswami in the Lila of his appearance, our acharyas have given credence to that. Now, what does Brahmavad mean here? Brahmavad means when the chitta vrittis have completely shut off from any external sensory influence, but are not stimulated by the Sagun form of Brahman, meaning the nature of personal realization of Sri Krishna, his Dham, his associates, Prem, etc. 2 states of existence can be there. One is called Atma Ananda, realization of the nature of the Atma, and Brahmananda, realization of the energy of Bhagavan, void of specificity of his personality, etc., etc. So because Sukadeva Goswami, by his Lila, entered the world under the auspices that Krishna, because one other part of the narrative is that when Sukadeva Goswami was in the womb of Bitika, he stayed there, some say 12, and many acharyas say 16 years. When Vyasadeva asked why you will not come out, right, he told, I don't want to be in illusory Maya. So I will only come out if this Maya can be removed. Who can remove Maya? Only Sri Krishna Bhagavan can remove Maya? Or those deputed by Krishna can remove Maya? So Vyasadeva, some say directly prayed, some say he prayed, and some say he went directly to Dwarka and brought Sri Krishna Bhagavan there. Shri Krishna, now this is another thing. Shri Krishna will personally come for the appearance just of any ordinary seminal personality, right? No, there's something special about this. He brought that Shri Krishna came there and spoke to Sukadeva Goswami, oh, you should not trouble your mother. You should come out from the womb. So Sukadeva Goswami, I will not come out unless Maya is removed. Krishna says, I will remove this Maya for 1 second only. And in that 1 second, Sukadeva Goswami made his appearance. So there's a very deep upakyan here. What is that teaching? Simply the removal of Maya does not equate to realization of Bhagavat Prem. To teach this lesson for all of those various rishis, sadhus, and other kinds of mahatmas who pursue the path of jnana or yoga, in which the primary function is the removal of ignorance, removal of maya, removal of avidya. They will realize Atma Ananda Brahmanand. But you cannot realize Krishna without the anugatya of the devotees of Krishna. You understand? To prove this point, even before speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Sukadeva Goswami demonstrates this Lila. And by doing so, he also demonstrates the superiority. He demonstrates the superiority of Prem Seva Ananda. He also demonstrates that for a liberated soul, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is more blissful than Brahmananda. By only hearing 3 or 2 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, his quote, Brahmananda was broken. And he immediately returned to Vyasadeva and heard the entire narration of the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, it could also be understood that if that Suk who heard Bhagavatam from Mahadev is the same Suk that manifested from the womb of Bitika, didn't he already know Srimad Bhagavatam? Therefore, as soon as Vyasadeva started to narrate Srimad Bhagavatam, or even he heard those verses while still being away from Vyasadeva, it immediately nourished or immediately manifested the sanskars of Bhagavatam heard from Mahadev. More than that, because his eternal identity is the Lila Sukha Radhika, simply by hearing one glory, one aksha of the glory, means one letter of the glories of his worshipful objective, immediately any kind of Brahmavad was broken. You understand? So now, what have our Acharyas said about this? Is there any further evidence from Acharyas regarding this point? So in our Mool Granth, the very first Granth of the Goswamis which was written was Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So I want to describe from Brihad Bhagavatamrita, this is going to be in the first canto, chapter 7, and this is verses 156 starting and going to 158. A description of the nature of the internal mood of Sukadeva Goswami. And before I do that, I want to give some other praman by inference. When Sukadeva Goswami wandered again away from home and wandered to the bank of the Ganga, knowing that he would have the chance meeting with Maharaj Parikshit, who was saved in the womb by Krishna himself. So Krishna saved from the Brahmastra Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara. So now, when for the Lila of the manifestation of Srimad Bhagavatam to be spoken, he will not send an arrangement for that. So he simultaneously sends an arrangement that will save the life of Maharaj Parikshit again and reveal the means by which everyone's life can be saved, which is the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sukadeva Goswami wanders to the bank of the Ganga, some say Jamuna, and there he comes into the assembly of thousands and thousands of rishis and sadhus who are trying to find what course of action, what modality should be taken at the time when Maharaj Parikshit has been threatened to be bitten by Takshak due to the sap or curse of Sringi. So at that time, all of the rishis recognized, but especially Narada Muni's present and Vyasadeva present, among many other senior rishis. They elect that Sukadeva Goswami should sit on the asan and speak Srimad Bhagavatam. So what is the inference I'm speaking of here? When Uddhavji was coming from Prabhas after the disappearance Lila of Sri Krishna, and he met Vidura, and Vidura began to inquire from him about what was spoken by Krishna to him at that time. Uddhavji brings up, after a brief discussion, Maitreya Rishi was also present there. We know that Maitreya Rishi is not equivalent to Uddhavji. But Uddhava still told Vidura, you can hear these things also for Maitreya. So, Maryada Vyatikrama, the violation of etiquette will not take place. How could it be Sukadeva Goswami has been selected to sit on the Vyasasan and he accepts it in the face of his Guru and Param Guru? How it can be? Because it is inferred by this, by both Nard and Vyas, that the quality of Sukadeva Goswami is different from their own. Narada Muni has Swarup in Braj as Madhu Mangal and Nadia Gopi. But he's deferring as Param Guru Dev in the Lila here, because he was the Shravan Guru to Vyasadev, and Vyasadev is Shravan Guru to Sukadeva Goswami. But they both deferred, and Sukadeva Goswami himself did not feel an inadequacy of sitting on the Vyasasan, because he was deputed by the ultimate authority of Radha and Krishna themselves, who told him to stay in this world to manifest Bhagavatam. So Nard Muni, Vyas, who are the Guru and Param Guru of Sukadeva Goswami, they understood this. They understood this. So this is Anuman. This is inferred Praman. Why Sukadeva Goswami is the Lila Suk, the parrot of Radha and Krishna. Because they allowed, he'll sit on the Vyasasan. Other than that, would it not be Maryada Vyatikrama, violation of etiquette, to sit on the asan in front of your own Guru and Param Guru? So more inferred. But what was the quality of Sukadeva Goswami? What was his quality? So here again in Brihad Bhagavatamrita of Sri Sanatana Goswami Pad, he's mentioning verse 156. Gopina mahima kaschit tasam eko api sakyate namaya swa muke ekartum mehur masikaya yata. So he says, I cannot, Gopina mahima kaschit, to describe the mahima of gopis, I'm incapable. I cannot even do this. Who's speaking here? This is Maharaj Parikshit speaking to Uttara, because she wanted to know what it was that was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami that he heard. She wanted to have a recap. So he's telling what my Guru Parapadma, my Shravan Guru spoke. It is incapable for me to speak that mahima of gopis in the same way. Right? I cannot describe with my own words even one of the glories of the gopis, any more than a mosquito can swallow Mount Meru. What an example he's giving. What an example he's giving. Then he says, aho. In Sanskrit, the word aho, it is an exclamation of chamatkar. Chamatkar means amazement, astonishment. It means the rising of a particular bhav that causes amazement in the heart. So he says, aho, Krishna rasa vishta shada namni krityat. Krishnasya tat priyanam cha vibhashmi adinam guru mama. He says, but mama guru means my guru. But my spiritual master, my guru, is fully absorbed in the loving moods of serving Krishna. How is he absorbed? Because he's the Lila Suk of Radha and Krishna. In the Ananda Vrindavan Champu and also in Gopal Champu, it describes that Srimati Radha, she would play with this Suk, this parrot. She would take pomegranate seeds and she would feed, or sometimes sweet rice, kheer, and feed this parrot. And then she would teach the parrot, you should recite Krishna, Krishna. So all the moods of the recitation of the name of Krishna that's in the heart of Radhika was imbued in this parrot. And she's saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. But there's one feature of constantly saying the name of Krishna, name of Krishna. Because Purnasuro, Nityamukto, Abhinatvam, Nama Namyo. The name and the person are not different for a person who has the ability to realize that. So realizing that in his heart, that Suk became very enchanted. I have to go and have darshan of Krishna. So that Suk flew from Varsana and went to Nandagan. And there in Nandagan, he perched on one platform, and Madhu Mangal and Krishna were sitting and they were about to take their lunch. That parrot, in the same voice tone as Srimati Radharani, began saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So Krishna was very amazed. He began to look here and there. He looked at Madhu Mangal and almost wanted to embrace Madhu Mangal. What good fortune do I have? Could it be that my most beloved has made their appearance amazingly here? Because normally the Abhisara means the transportation to a meeting place with Krishna by Radhika is very complex arrangement. So to simply have appeared, especially in the daytime, in Nandagan, and to call out openly the name would be very unlikely. But Madhu Mangal told to Krishna, oh Suka, listen, this is a very good omen. This is a very good omen. It means that your Swamini is thinking of you. It means by destiny your meeting will take place. But it is not your Swamini. Look here. Madhu Mangal points and they look at the parrot. So then Krishna put his hand out and that Suk came and landed in the hand of Krishna. Then Krishna began to say, as the parrot kept reciting Krishna, Krishna, then Krishna said, Radha, Radha. All of the moods of loving praying Krishna has for Radha were then absorbed in the ear of that Suk. So that Suk now was completely absorbed in, oh, what have I done? I've left Srimati Radharani to come here. But my heart is breaking because my real mood of relation is to be the servant of that Radharani. Just at that time, Lalita and Visakha showed up in Nandagan. Having followed the path of that Suk, they came there and they saw Krishna and they thought, oh, here you are. And they told Krishna, this is the Suk of my Swamini. So here we have evidence also in Ananda Vrindavan Champu and also Gopal Champu. Also you may find written in Bhavana Sara Sangraha, which is a compilation by Sri Krishna Das of many of the writings of like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Krishna Bhavanamrita, Shri Krishna's Kaviraj's Govinda Lilamrita, Krishnaika Kamudi. So you'll find a compilation of all of those describing the Nitya Leela of Krishna. So then Krishna said, if this is truly your parrot or the parrot of your Swamini, and you've come in representation of her, then naturally the parrot should want to come back to you. So even though Suk wanted to fly away, one issue is there. Anyone who comes in contact with Krishna is very difficult to break that contact. So Suk was finding very difficult to leave Krishna also. So Vishakha and Lalita said, what trick you're playing we don't know, but you should voluntarily bring that Suk and give to us. So Krishna says, no. You cannot come and simply claim something and simply on your word I have to accept it. Don't you know that I am Satyabrat? I've never told a lie ever. Krishna always puts himself in some position of extraordinary opposite of what he really does. He's always telling lies. You understand? But in Tattvagata Vichar, Krishna's lie is the truth. But in Rasa Siddhant, Krishna is always lying. But he postures, oh, I'm brahmachari. Oh, I'm Satyavrat. I never tell lies. So here, he's saying, I never tell a lie. This parrot is free to roam in all this Braj. It doesn't belong to anyone. But it has come to me, and therefore I am the owner. So Lalita and Visakha, they go to Ma Yashoda. Hey, Ma Yashoda, no, your son has stolen the parrot of our Swamini. So Mother Yashoda came there, looking at Krishna. She said, oh, naughty boy, give me this parrot. And she took Krishna by the ear and told Madhu Madhu, come. Your father has been waiting to take prasad, and you're sitting here and you're playing with any birds in the forest. So she took that parrot, gave it back to Vishakha and Lalita, and by force of ear, took Krishna to take prasad with Nanda Baba. You understand? So, here Parikshit Maharaj is describing the qualities of that Shukdev Goswami, who is that parrot. Aho! In exclamation of amazement. Krishna Rasavishta. He's Krishna Rasavishta. He's fully absorbed in the pastimes of Krishna. And his absorption there is so thick because he has form there. Nobody can be absorbed based on simply hearing philosophy. You cannot be absorbed simply by having remembered narration of Shastra. It's explained. Nayam atma pravachanena na medasaya na bhushutena. Right? You cannot understand the nature of Krishna, Krishna Swarup, only by expertise or in erudition of giving lecture, or having great intelligence, or even having studied so many Shastra. Eva Isha Vinute Tena Labhyas Tashev Isha Vivinute Tanuswam. Krishna will only reveal himself to those whom he wants to. Naham Prakasha Savasha Yogmaya Samamrita. Krishna reserves the right to not reveal himself, to stay covered by his Yogmaya Shakti. Only Krishna is obliged to reveal himself when the Bhakti Shakti becomes manifest. Then Krishna is obliged. He cannot hide himself. You understand? So he says, oh, Krishna Rasavishta. My Gurudev is completely absorbed in tasting Krishna Rasa. There's no Ras without Rasmai Radhika. There is no Ras that Krishna could taste. So by saying this, he's saying, yes, he's absorbed in the Lila in which Krishna tastes Ras with Srimati Radhika. Sadanamni Krityat. He can constantly glorify Krishna. Right? Sadanamni Krishna Krityat. Krishnasya ta priyanamacha. He can constantly glorify Krishna, not only Krishna, but all the residents of Braj. He can glorify, but at some point is coming here. Krishnasya ta priyanamcha. Also the all dear devotees of Krishna, he can glorify. Bhashmai adinam guru mama. My guru, he can glorify very easily. Even he can glorify Krishna's beloveds like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and others. But it's explained in the next verse. Gopinam Vittabhuda Sputahara Prema Nalistrichis Chator. The gopis were consumed by the expansive flames of wondrous blazing fire of love for Krishna. This is called, when the nature of praying reaches its height, it is called Mahabhav. Mahabhav has two different divisions, Rud and Adirud. They're distinguished by the nature of the intensity of the Asta Sattvic Vikar. Means like fainting, change of body colors, your voice faltering, hair standing on end, profuse crying. These kinds of sattvic bhavs, when they come all at one time, and they come in a condition which is called Sudipta, it is called blazing. You understand? So he's making this reference here. The wondrous blazing fire of love for Krishna. If my guru, then he says, Duddhabandhanam kila nama kirtan kritat tasam visheshat smritihi. If, however, he will chant the name, if my guru chants the names of these gopis and recalls the gopis' distinguishing qualities, he too is touched by the sparks shooting forth from those flames of the intense fire, and he at once becomes greatly agitated. Therefore, he has to avoid pronouncing the gopi's name. So here, the gopi's name becomes singular. Why is that? Radha nama prachanena murchita sanmasiko bhavet. So the verse is saying, and this is very powerful, there's one feature of prema, it is called Yavat Asraya Vritti Asana Janata Rit Valodanam. In Mahabhav, one feature, even in Rud Mahabhav, is that the nature, even in Anurag, this is described. Anurag, Samsvamvejadasya, Prapya Prakashita, Yadvat Asraya Vrittischet. One feature of this high class of love is that the love has the power to spill out of its container, and Yavat means whomever, Asraya, is nearby according to their quality, take shelter in them, and asana janata rit valodanam, and churn their hearts with those same moods. So here he's saying, if my Gurudev will pronounce the name of that gopi who has this Sudipta Mahabhav in Mohan, means the Maranatya Mahabhav is the highest kind of manifestation of prema in Radhika. Preceding that Maranatya Mahabhav is Modan, it means when Radha and Krishna are meeting, and Mohan, when they become separated. The nature of this Sudipta Mahabhav becomes especially manifest in Srimati Radhika upon the separation from Krishna, and produces many, many wonderful things. It's described in Ujjavala Mani Grantha of Rupa Goswami. Ruda Akya Abhavajato Yam Shambhoga Vipralambika. Her separation from Krishna becomes so powerful, it produces meeting with Krishna. You understand? Her separation, the love imbued in that separation is so powerful, it manifests Krishna himself. So there's many nuances to this, but I will get off track if I try to go into explaining those things. But here, my point was inference and praman, and here this would be Shabda praman, that the Lila Suk of Radha and Krishna is in fact Sukadeva Goswami. So Maharaj Parikshit is describing my Shravan Guru is this person. And who is that? Oh, first of all, he's Krishna Rasavishta. He's also the recipient of the moods in the heart of Srimati Radhika, the topmost gopi. So now let me bring one other praman for this before I get to an inferred praman. So bear with me. So bear with me 1 second. I just want to pull something up. How? Okay, all right. How? In the Venu Geet, which is the 21st chapter of the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, there the gopis are in Purva Rag. Purva Rag means that mood of separation which has come when they're entering into their blossoming age as teenagers, and their love for Krishna is being established, but they have not quite met with Krishna in a conjugal way yet. You understand? So this is called Purva Rag. You understand? In that Purva Rag, their mood of love is very high. And in verse number 3 it mentions, when Krishna goes out to take the cows for grazing, He comes and sometimes he stops and he plays his flute. So this is a narration actually about many things, but one being the udipan or stimulus that comes when the young gopis in Purvarag hear the flute of Krishna and what happens to them in the internal bhavs they have, their moods. So tad rajastriya asrutya venugitam smaro udayam kaschit paroksham krishnasya swasakebhyo anubhanayam. When the gopis heard Krishna play his flute, then immediately, because there's many millions of gopis, but each of the gopis has their own group which they have allegiance to and friendship with. So there are essentially 4 different categories or groups of gopis. Based around the chief gopi, Shrimati Radhika, her own near and dear friends are called Swapaksh, her own group. Then there's those like Shamla Saki who are very friendly to Radhika, and they are called Surit Paksh. There are those who are not against Radhika, but they have more inclination towards Chandravali, the chief rival Saki, and like Bhadra, they are called Tatashta Paksh. It means they're kind of neutral to Radhika, but have more friendship towards Chandravali. Then like Padma and Saibya, they are the Swapaksh, or good friends with Chandravali's group, but they are Vipaksh, means the opposite party to Radhika and her group. You understand? So all these different gopis, when they heard the flute, swasakebhyo anubhanayam, they ran and they joined their own particular group. Tadvaniyatum, in their group, arabda, they began, after hearing this flute, smarantaya Krishna chestitam. They began to remember immediately so many charming Leelas of Krishna. And when they began to remember them, they wanted to speak one to another about them in their own personal groups. But what happened? Nasakam smaravegena. Vikshipta manaso nipa. Vikship means like distraction. They became distracted. And nasakam smaravegena. The upsurge of smaraveg means the intensity of their love and their desire to be with Krishna, became so overwhelming, their minds became distracted and they could not speak. So this is in verse 4, they could not speak. Verse number 5, a beautiful appearance of Krishna had come in their hearts. And because that appearance had come into their hearts, they could not give expression. They couldn't speak. They were stunned. So many astasattvic vikar were coming. They could not speak. And therefore, it's mentioned, what appeared in their heart? Parahapitam natu varvapu kada kanyo karikaram bribad vasa kanaka kapistam vajantim chamalam Randram Venu Atara Sudayo Purayan Gopa Vrindai Vrindavanaranyam Swapada Ramana Pravisat Gita Kirti. They saw directly the form of Krishna. Parahapitam Nattu Vara Vapu Kada. What Vapu they saw? What form they saw? Parahapitam Nattu Vara. Krishna as the greatest of all dancers. This is from a previous impression. During the Kaliya Damana Lila, when Krishna chastised Kaliya, when the young gopis had come there, they had previously always thought of Krishna only as their village associate, their friend in the village. A very naughty boy, son of Mother Yashoda. He has so much pride because his father's a king, because they have 9 lakhs cows. He was always with his band of dacoit friends, stealing here and there. So this is what they understood. But when they saw Krishna, when he was dancing on the heads of Kaliya, the seed of their budding youth came, and they saw Krishna as the most beautiful dancer and coveted the desire, someday I also want to dance with this boy. So now that very form of Krishna, decorated so beautifully, appeared in their hearts, causing them to be unable to speak. Causing them to be unable to speak. What happened at that time? Iti Venu Ravan Rajam. They're not speaking here. Iti Venu Ravan Rajam. Savabhuta Manoharam. Srupa Vrajastriyo Sarva. Vaniyanto Abhire Bire. Someone is now describing what's going on in their hearts. Who is describing? Who's speaking Srimad Bhagavatam? Sukadeva Goswami speaking these verses in Srimad Bhagavatam based on having been in the position in which to witness this, for one, and two, to be accommodating, to imbibe the moods of the gopis in such a way he could speak even when the gopis could not speak. So he's saying, Iti Venu Ravan Rajan Savabhuta Manoharam, that when Krishna blows his flute, please, these gopis, they're expressing also avahit bhav, means they're expressing a mood of concealing their feelings. So he's saying here, don't blame that these gopis will be implicated, because remember they're still young girls, implicated in anything wrong. When Krishna plays his flute, Savabhuta Manoharam, everyone becomes bewildered. And the whole rest of Venu Geet will prove how so many different categories of persons and even things become bewildered by hearing the flute of Krishna. So this is in Avahita Bhav. You understand? But who's speaking is what I'm making the point. Right? That Sukadeva Goswami is witnessing, and now he's speaking as the Lila Suk of Radhika, and Krishna is experiencing. And he's speaking now as Sukadeva Goswami. Because only a person who has that experience can speak these things, even when the gopis themselves are not speaking. Now, what is the proof, Mukunda, that you are saying this? What is the proof? If you look at the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he directly says, gopis could not speak anymore. So when do the gopis start speaking again? In the 7th verse it begins, Gopya Uchu. Now the gopis again begin to speak. What do they speak? Akshamvatam phalamida parama vidmaha satyapasun anuvesatayo vyasavihi vaktram vrajesa sutayo anuvenu justam yavanapitam anurakta kataksha moksham. So they start speaking again in this shlok. So it means, what is the quality of Sukadeva Goswami? That his heart again is Krishna Rasha Vishta. He is fully absorbed. Therefore, Vyas, not all gave preference, he should speak. Because he is the Lila Suk of Srimati Radharani. Last Praman. Our Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written in his commentary, Sarta Darshani Tika, and I didn't even go, and I just think it will elongate this too much, to go into, in the Ras Panchadhyay, in the first verse describing Ras Lila, Bhagavani Pita Ratri Sarat Utpalika Malika, etc., it begins Sri Bhadrayani Vacha or Sri Suka Vacha. If you look at the commentaries of our acharyas describing Sri Suka or Sri Bhadrayani Vacha, you will see how they glorify the nature of Sukadeva Goswami. But here I'm taking from the 3rd verse, the Faustuti verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Nigama Kalpatura Galitam Phalam, Sukamukhad Amrita Dravya Samyutam, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasayam Alayam, Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. So Sukadeva Goswami has given one blessing. Vyasadeva also, Sut Goswami also the same, Ashirvad or Faustuti verses applicable in all 3 cases of the speaking of Bhagavatam. What is that blessing? That if any very fortunate person, by great sukriti or by great mercy, Brahmanya Brahmati Kon Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Poi Bhakti Latavij, right? By great kripa of Bhagavan and the sadhu, they are wandering throughout this universe. You should know that I'm giving my blessing. Muhuraho. Again, this word ho comes here. Oh, meaning in astonishment. After giving the invocation verse, it is called the Namaskaratmaka verse. And then the Vastu Nirdesh Atmaka verse, means the definition verse. Dharma Projita Kaitavotra. Now he's saying, what is the amazing thing about this entire Bhagavatam? That any very fortunate person can experience Rasik Babu Vaishnav's Bhuvi means walking this earth. And if by great fortune, Yadricha means great fortune, you avail to meet one, then the fortune of hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam and the conclusion of the Srimad Bhagavatam will become available to you. So in describing that, he then describes the nature of the statement about Sukadeva Goswami. So, Sukha Mukhad Amrita Dravya Samyutam, he's describing this section. And he says, thus it is completely full of sweetness. He's describing the nature of Bhagavatam. Even after falling from a high position in the tree, it does not break. Right? Nor does it lose its sweetness. That is because it comes down from the highest position, which is Bhagavan himself, down through Parampara, through Brahma, then to Nard, then to Vyas, because he's tracing out the speaking of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is present in the Omkar. Bhagavatam is manifest in the heart of Brahma. Tinne Brahma Ritadikavaye. Right? One Adikavi is Brahma. I'm going to bring up another Praman for that. Right? Regarding Sukadeva Goswami. Then to Vyas, and then it emerges from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. Thus, without being damaged, it is endowed with liquid sweetness. So he's giving the idea that when a mango becomes very ripe, normally, and I had this experience, I was preaching in Africa for many years. We were preaching in Zambia. We had both avocado and mango trees in the compound we were in. And during the ripe season for mangoes, they just fall from the tree, just unlimitedly falling. And they would break sometime hitting the ground. We would collect them and give them to one lady who would then make mango ras out of them. Mango ras is when they squeeze the mangoes for all the juice and they freeze it, and then later on it comes out like a smoothie or whatever as mango ras. Right? They mix it with a little cumin. It's very tasty. But it's saying here, this mango, which is the mature fruit of all Vedic Sastra, doesn't fall like that. It's carefully handed down. But what has made it sweet? Sukha Mukhad Amrit. The nectar, the highest form or concentration of its sweetness, Amrit, is there because Sri Suk has bitten it and pierced it. Right? He's bitten and pierced this very sweet fruit. Right? Then it says, thus, without being damaged, it is endowed with the liquid sweetness like honey. Here, this liquid sweetness means rasa. That's what they're describing. That all the rasa of Srimad Bhagavatam is fully present. And originally, if you really examine this verse, it gives the paramparas Brahma, to Nar, to Vyas, then to Suk. But here, Suk means Sukadeva, he's manifested in the Lila to speak Bhagavatam. But where is the origin of manifesting the sweetness of Bhagavatam? It says the Suk, the parrot, bit the fruit. Therefore, originally, that Sukadeva Goswami who has bit and tasted the fruit of the association of Radha and Krishna, that Suk, that parrot, has become this Sukadeva Goswami in Parampara. Now, Mukunda, can you give any further evidence? Then, right after making this statement, thus without being damaged, it is endowed with the liquid sweetness of honey, meaning rasa. The parrot, Suk, has even made the opening in the fruit with his beak for the bringing out of that sweetness. So he addresses himself, the parrot Suk. You understand? If it is an analogy to an ordinary parrot, you understand? You could simply say, any parrot. But he's identifying this Sukadeva Goswami, the parrot Suka. You understand? He's the one who has first tasted the sweetness of this ras, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. You understand? Then it comes down, that sweetness of that ras has come down in Parampara. And is again being manifest by that Suk in the form of Sukadeva Goswami, who's now speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit, and because this is the only parampara in which one can get the nectar of the realizations of the ras inherent in Srimad Bhagavatam, when Baladev Ji was going on parikrama around all the holy places and came to Namasaranya, he told that this Ramaharshan cannot speak Srimad Bhagavatam. Do you know what is the meaning of Ramaharshan? It means the reason Vyasadeva gave him charge of all the Puranas is because when he would speak, he was so intelligent. At the same time, he could speak in such a way that was so sweet. It doesn't mention that it was rasi. It mentions that it was so sweet and so captivating, it would make the hair on your body stand up. Not out of astasattvic vichar, just out of material stimulation. You understand? So his name was Ramaharshan. He could cause the standing of the hairs on body by the sweetness of the melodies and tunes and the ingenuitive ways in which he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. His son was now so named Ugrasrava, means he had an intensity to hear. So when Baladev removed this professional, this is like Upakinati, this kind of professional recitation of Bhagavatam, he empowered his son, because Baladev is Guru Tattva, he empowered his son with the ability to use Ugrasrava, to use the intensity of his hearing ability to hear this Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. Then Etat, one day he returned to Namasaranya, and all the sages recognized, oh, you've heard from your Guru, whom even the Guru of Gurus, Vyasa and Nard, put on the Vyasa-san. Certainly you should speak to us what you've heard from him. And then this is the genesis of speaking at Namasaranya to the sages there, headed by Sonakarishi. You understand? And remember, Suta Goswami also was a small boy. Not small in the sense of when he was first empowered by Baladev as 5, but he was still a young man. And in the midst of all these rishis gathered at Namasaranya, he spoke. Because again, they recognized that he's coming in parampara from that Lila Suk of Srimati Radhika, who is Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, he knows. You understand? So, I have attempted here to offer praman from several different sources regarding the statements of many high-quality Rasik Bhavuk Vaishnavas who have declared that Sukadeva Goswami is in fact, with reference to Ananda Vrindavan Champu, Gopal Champu, and even Srimad Bhagavatam as Mupaman, that he is in fact the Lila Shuk of Srimati Radhika. The opposing party has offered, I've only seen minimal opposition in terms of evidence. And the evidence is primarily anecdotal. Again, they've not mentioned any Sastra Praman or any commentary Praman for proving that he is not the Lila Shuk of Radhika. Even if you analyze the various narratives, it is fine to understand these various narratives in Puranas as being related to the appearance of Sukadeva Goswami. But even how Srila Prabhupada in the 9th canto has mentioned that in the many narratives, they are not all the speakers of Srimad Bhagavatam. He quotes Baladev Vijabhushan saying they're simply appearances of the son of Vyas in different kalpas. Now, one other opposing idea that was given from one sannyasi I'm not mentioning by name, a very respected sannyasi. He has since left the world, but he spoke that in a conversation with Pujapad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Goswami, that he heard from him that Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, our Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, once in a meeting with a Pandit from Assam. Now, a number of things come up here. Pandit can mean many things. He's not mentioned him as a Vaishnav scholar or Vaishnav Pandit, just a Pandit from Assam. In a conversation, when he was asked a question by this Pandit, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave the more generic answer that Sukadeva Goswami's appearance is mentioned in 2 places in the Puranas, and he did not go further than that. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shri Goswami Maharaj, in that assembly, in that snapshot of time and discussion, answered the question in reference to that statement of his own Gurudev. That, yes, it's generally described that this Sukadeva Goswami, who was the son of Vyas like this, he's not found to have a position in the higher plane. These are some of the words that they're quoting that he used. Understand? He's not found to have a footing in the higher plane and so forth and so on. But we can understand he's speaking about the appearance of the seminal son of Vyas, Sukadeva Goswami. You understand? Because they were trying to rationalize how also Sukadeva Goswami could be Brahmavadi. Understand? So he's giving some context in which to digest it. Will we accept that this is the full understanding of Srila Pujapat, Srila Shuddha Maharaj? Absolutely not. I will say this is not the fullness of his expression regarding Sukadeva Goswami. And no other evidence has been presented. You understand? So, even I quoted the verse earlier about Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that is written in Srimad Bhagavatam. But I explained what is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And the weight of that one verse, or even other verses indicating the nature of the Lila of presenting Brahmavad to show the superiority of breaking Brahmavad, is also there in the four Kumaras. It is also other places in Sastra. It's in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Jaiva Dharma with Sannyasi Thakur. So this is a Sastric theme, the supremacy of Bhakti and Prem Sevananda over Brahmavad. So this is not an unusual thing. It still does not detract from the many evidences proving that that person who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam was in fact the Krida Shuk, Lila Suk of Radha and Krishna. So I'm begging the causeless mercy of our Guru Vargas and especially my Guru Padma, that they'll bless me in this humble attempt to do seva to the conceptions that I heard from his own lotus mouth and many other Rasik high quality Vaishnavas. So I'll end here, and I posted it this way. I had a discussion with one other very nice devotee here, and he was suggesting I write it out so that it could be in the Vaishnava Mandal in a written way. But it is better for me, easier for me, when I'm able to speak these conceptions as they're inspired in the flow from my heart by Sri Guru Padma and Guru Parampara, and hopefully by the mercy of Sri Sukadeva Goswami Ji, right? And any replies or answers can also be written in the comments, or they can be written and addressed on another forum, etc., etc. And I beg that I have many senior God brothers and sisters, and also many high class of realized Vaishnavas, who in coming across this may be able to, by their mercy, take some time, because most are so busy absorbed in bhajan and other things, to be very merciful to me and to correct anything that I might have spoken that was incorrect. Right? And again, anything incorrect, that is completely my own ownership, and anything that was absolutely correct and divine is the property of my Guru Padma and Guru Parampara. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe.